Hello, Annie Ruler. Go live at 5. You're the bomb, girl. Thank you for being here. I got your package sent off yesterday. I'm super excited to tell you. Trying to get my screen bigger so that I can see me. I was like this little tiny thing. I don't care about seeing me. I just want to see all my cool shit. I got to get out of your way for a second because I have got to let you guys see what's been going on back here with my chakra tower. Ta-da! It's getting there. It's sad that I cover it, but what are you going to do? I guess I can move around like from this side to that side to the other side. Here, I'll just slide over. I don't know if I can. Anyway, let's start talking. How are you guys? Well, it's just me and you, Annie. How are you, girl? And you guys, let's start out with something phenomenally crazy. Do you remember when I told you it was you, Annie Ruler, as a matter of fact, that I was saying hello to you in the chat um, with on a crime circus video on a premiere, the way he does those. And you didn't respond, which I thought, okay, she's busy or maybe she no like me. And then nobody was responding to any of the things I was saying in the chat. And I was putting out some really interesting ideas, I thought. So I was like, okay, everybody hates me. That's all right. I can handle it. I'm annoying or whatever. And then at the end, I realized I don't think anyone saw my chat. So I told you guys about this when I sent Drip Drop a message, and he said, "Yeah, you're not blocked, but I didn't see you in chat either." So I thought, interesting, a little shadow banning perhaps. Let me see if I can turn my fan down. All of a sudden, I'm getting a little chilly, which is good because it's better than being overheated. Let's see. All right. And now it's not going to be cool enough. Okay. It's like Goldilocks over here. Anyway, last night in Shan's chat, the same thing happened. I was like, okay, I did something. Everyone's mad at me. Nobody wants to say hi. Nobody wants to respond to what I'm saying. And because both times what I was typing in would show up on the live chat for me, but then as it would scroll down, it would disappear. So I wouldn't know that it was not there anymore. But on Drip Drops and again on Shan's last night, I scrolled back and they were all gone. And I was just like, weird. So, of course, I texted Shan right away and I was like, hey, I think I might be blocked or shadow banned or hamburglarized or something. And she said, yeah, you're not blocked. And so, muted. Is that what they do, Annie? I think you are the only one concerned with lighting. I know. I know. I mean, a lot of people have some good lighting. There's a lot of channels that have professional lighting. Annie Ruler, just FYI, and a lot of channels that have zero lighting. Like they don't even, you know, they're showing things that they are not showing themselves, so it's fine. And then people that are showing themselves and they don't worry about it and they look very washed out or what have you. I mean, if you're outside, you're gonna look weird and washed out. But I have a lot of fun with the lighting, and I'm an artist. So I mean, this is my art form and this is my art therapy. So it's just fun and it kind of relaxes me to like make everything perfect. That's an OCD thing. It reduces your anxiety to like, tweak things. And it's kind of like a meditation. And so that's my thing. And yeah, I know I'm weird. That's why I would never be offended if people were upset with me for one reason or another. If they're just like, well, you're just a weirdo that all you care about is your lighting and no one else cares. I'd be like, yeah, valid point. It's all right. We all have our differences, and that's what makes us unique. So yeah, this muted thing, I've never really heard of it except for like from you and maybe a couple others when I brought it up before. I find shadow banned, you have a type entire name before that person pops up. You were muted on those shows. Mods done that. I don't think the mods did it. they may have, but I don't think so. I can ask Shan again. I am muted on a few channels. Some people don't like us mod and mute. And again, I'm fine with that. It's no problem for me to just be a lurker. And I don't need to know if somebody's got an issue with me. That's, I don't take that kind of stuff personally, but I'm not wanting to jump to conclusions. It could just be a glitch. I always like to say that it could just be a glitch in the system, right? I'm thinking that possibly, let me hear what you think about this, Annie. Possibly the Hamburglers don't want me on Shan's chat. They don't want me on Drip Drop's chat. Drip Drop has a huge reach. Shan has a pretty good reach too. Shan and I together, I think, we kind of vibe off of each other. And Drip Drop and I do a little bit, I think. I mean, I don't know what he would say about that, but I think we do. I mean, we've had communication in the chats and in our emails. And, we think along the same lines. I mean, he's so huge. I don't want to flatter myself with oh yeah, me and Drip Drop Man, we're down with that. I don't know. Again, people might think I'm annoying and I might not know that, and that's fine. I mean, we're all welcome to think whatever we want, and that's just the way life is. And even if you love somebody, there's times when you're annoyed with them. So like I said, I don't take it personally, but I am flattered if there's some powers that be at YouTube that don't want me interacting with these specific content creators in their audience. I take that as a compliment. So yeah, Annie Ruler, I would think the same thing for you too, that maybe it's not the mods that don't like you. Maybe it's YouTube people that know the Hambrick family or that are the Hambrick family and others like them that are just oh no, it's Annie Ruler, because you're good, you're sharp, you're very much on point. The creator, I doubt, knows. Get a Clue taught us about that feature. Oh, that's funny. Because isn't Get a Clue the one that Drip Drop thinks is feds? I don't know. Anyway, so much to think about. So let's do our little thing. Let's do my transparency. No, what does it say? Tranquility. Tranquility now. And please share, subscribe, turn on your notification bell to ring. And there's the other button that's I thought this one was good and creepy, but the white one is even creepier. So anywho, now can you play I Spy with me just for a second? Annie, I want you to look down here in the corner. If you can zoom in, there's the cutest little bunny rabbit family in the world. I had it there in my last video. It was the first time I'd ever had it, and it fell over. So you couldn't see it except for at the beginning, but hopefully it won't fall over today. So we got 3 babies in the tree stump, and then we got the mama bunny. And enough about that. Let's stay focused. Hey, Drift Away. I know I annoy some. Then I have creators asking for my theories. I really think that it is mods. Remember your mod a year ago was getting my nails done and blocked a bunch by accident. Oh, was that Nico Mingo? I will kill her. Oh, that's so funny. Hey, Drift Away. Yeah, I do remember that. That's funny. And mods can get a little funky. That's why we got to be careful who we throw our wrenches to. I mean, unless you know people personally, it can be tricky. So I know 1111 True Crime had some mods that kind of turned on her and stole her channel years ago with a different channel. Those are adorable. Annie says the little bunny rabbits. Yeah. Listening, but also watching Race 9. I don't know what the race is. Mean girls grow up to be mean ladies or jealous. And again, I don't worry about it. Everybody's got issues. And if they think they have issues with you, they're just projecting it onto you. It's issues with themselves. So I'm all good. Anyway, that I thought was interesting. And oh, horses at Kenland. Woohoo. Um, so you guys, I have so many notes. Let's see if I can find them today because I really annoy myself when I have all these great notes and then I can't find them. It's like I'll have to mute myself if I keep doing that because it really bugs me. There's so much I want to talk about with you guys. Let me just do my little spiel. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of starting a conversation, opening up a discussion, hoping to learn something and be educational and to have cool lighting. Every video that I've made to date has been made for YouTube. It's an entertainment platform. Jazz, use a backup. Ola as my backup persons. IMO is me too. Oh, very cool. You know, I'm not even going to worry about it because if I'm muted, it's not a big deal to me. You know, like in the case with Drip Drop, I was able to I was taking notes during his video. So all of the comments that I made, I actually had already taken note of. And then when none of the comments were there in the conversation, I thought, well, great, there's my next video right there. Hey, Mr. Mark, how are you? So yeah, it's like, we're doing each other a huge favor when we participate in each other's chats and panels and watch each other's videos. I mean, that's great support. And it's kind of good advertising for us too, to be seen on other people's channels. But sometimes it might dilute then what we're talking about on our own channel because we already let the cat out of the bag in somebody's panel discussion or something. So I've certainly had that happen where I was like, oh, all the brilliant things I wanted to talk about in my next live are no longer fresh. So I like to keep it fresh if possible. Doesn't always work out that way. Sometimes we have too good an idea for a topic. Well, and sometimes I totally agree, Annie Ruler, and we don't want to hijack people's lives. That's the other thing. So, I always try to refrain from putting everything I'm thinking out there because it's somebody else's show. I don't want to guide the conversation. I want to make sure I'm letting the content creator guide their own conversation, and then I'll, contribute to that. So it's just this whole YouTube thing is a trip and a half. I mean, I know that Shan and Ninja have made Rumble channels. Honestly, I would just get too confused. I think I might be able to watch some Rumble, but I'm not even sure that I can do that. Stop it, Jazz. I apologize for that. LOL. What? I don't know what you're talking about, girl. You're cracking me up. And I don't even know if you're a girl, Drift Away. That's okay. Either way, I can call you girl, right? And seeing red flags is here. Hello. I don't know what you're referring to. Drift Away. Please help. Hello. Nice to see you guys. That's great. We have about half a dozen here, so we are good to roll. So, what about I mentioned the thing in my last live about steroids possibly being a thing in Kylie Rodney's case. It certainly seems like steroids are a thing with the Idaho 4. I would say hands down. I think that it's a possibility that they could be a thing with why Chris Watts's brain was not working. Could be. And maybe his girlfriend was using them too, because she was a little bit leaner and more cut than most women would be, especially when she says she doesn't work out very often. Do you guys remember that in all those interviews? She was like, oh, me, I don't work out that often. I know I look like I do. That girl, ugh, gross, cringeworthy. Anyway, with Scammy, she lost a lot of weight. When we just look at the pictures that we've seen on social media of her over the last maybe 12 months before Kylie disappeared, she went from being much more voluptuous to really trimming down. And that could be from a number of things, but I'm just saying that there could be an element of that. With that whole Fight Club thing, and and Kylie was so slender, and we all know that females get very, very jealous of women that are that slim, and especially the ones that don't look like they have to work for it. They look like they're just born that way. We hate them all, don't we? Oh, cat fight. Oh, yeah, yeah. Let's see. When I brought up the video on the kid in Tennessee and the cop earlier this week, I'm a girl, old lady type. That was totally fine. 100% fine with me, drift away. I used to be more uptight about that. Like I said the other day when I was newer at this, it would kind of distract me and confuse me, honestly. And so I just would try to shut that down. But it's absolutely fine to bring up other cases. But yeah, I apologize for that when I'm in other people's chats too and bringing up other cases. Because sometimes people are good with it, and other times they're just like, what the hell are you talking about? Stay on topic. So, Marky Mark, good to see you. And yeah, so thanks for checking with me. Sammy is straight up Molly and ex party girl. And then there's the whole element of the gender fluidity and the, you know, LB. Oh, I can't even do all the letters anymore. There's too many. That whole alphabet thing. Lesbian, gay, bisexual, queer, trans, right? Whatever letters those are. Um, Kids these days, teenagers these days are so fluid with their sexuality and their gender. It wouldn't never have surprised me if Scammy had a crush on Kylie and that was part of the tension too. So here Kylie was stealing the boys that she was interested in, or winning the contests for them, basically winning their affection. And then maybe Scammy had a thing for her. I think the same thing could be said for the Meredith Kercher case in Italy from, what was that, almost 20 years ago. I think it was 2007. So I think it's something to consider, because in the Meredith Kercher assault, she was SA'd, and there was very clear evidence that there was more than one person. So it could very well be that she was SA'd by a female, which I believe that that's a very likely scenario. And I've often wondered that with Kylie. I hate to say that I think she was SA'd, but I definitely think that she was. This is what happens at teenage parties. Unfortunately, college parties. I mean, this was kids going off to college. This was Lord of the Flies. The whole thing with roofing somebody and incapacitating them, and then taking advantage of them. And, a lot of that type of thing, harassment and bullying and um, assault, a lot of that is all about humiliation and trying to humiliate somebody. So I could really see Scammy, in my opinion, trying to humiliate Kylie. And, Kylie had broken it off with Jägermeister. She had allegedly broken it off with the Hamburglar, and she was still kind of carrying on, possibly with one or both of them. And she has every right to do that. But emotions run high. So I've personally never been able to clear those people in my mind from any wrongdoing, especially with all the protection that the whole case has had. Mark, I saw your video from yesterday where you were um, hoping to get Jennifer Coffindaffer to talk about Kylie Rodney's case. And yeah, she does have great FBI connections. Personally, I hate her, but I respect your liking her. I despise her because I don't think she's sincere. And I don't think she'll touch Kylie's case with a 10-foot pole because of her connections with FBI. Because I think they're all in on protecting the bad guys in that situation. So, just my opinion. Like I said, I respect yours and I see your points in the things that you do appreciate about her for sure. Um, so I don't want to discourage you from attempting to get her to check out Kylie's case. I mean, I am just really frustrated that there's no investigative journalists that are highlighting her case. I think it's absurd. And again, to me, that is more evidence in my own investigation of thinking that there's a conspiracy. That, all these other cases, I mean, Idaho 4, you've had several exposés on it on Dateline, 48 Hours 2020. And, the Gabby Petito case, the Watts case, all of these cases get spotlighted on those types of shows. So why not Kylie's? Kylie's has never, ever, ever been spotlighted on those shows. It would be talked about on like MSNBC, the World News Tonight with David Muir. When she first disappeared, there would be notifications and updates that they would give on that news channel, but there's never been a deep dive on Kylie, and I take great offense to that, and it makes me very suspicious of people. CN Red Flag says, "You're not wrong, Jazz. My brain gets one track." Yeah. Also Twisted Little, bored, deviates, and jealous. And then, the whole thing with the outsider, being homeschooled, and also the whole thing with a bunch of rich kids. And I think to a lot of the world, Kylie looks like a rich kid living in that beautiful lodge and driving a CRV of a pretty newer model. But to her trucky friends, I'm sure she didn't look rich at all. She was working at the tea shop, which that's hard work, and I really respect her for that. But most of those little brats probably wouldn't do a job like that. Just retail service and probably not much more than minimum wage. It's great for people to do those jobs, especially at a young age, so they can really appreciate work and money and bills and that kind of stuff. But let me catch up with you guys. Those advertisements of Just K, a little girl floating. I remember hearing KR was hidden as in not mingling with guests. I feel that was unless they paid, in my opinion, and sad. Oh, that's so devastating, Annie. And I totally see your points. I would not argue any of that. So for those who don't know, Kay, a little girl floating, I think you're referring to that beautiful picture of her in the yellow kayak out on the lake that was put in a men's magazine to advertise for the Lost Trail Lodge. And that's really bizarre to me to have a little tiny, like 7 or 8-year-old girl in a kayak all by herself floating out there. And it's just the back of her. I mean, it's really weird to put that in a men's magazine. What, like they're going to bring their little girl children with them? I mean, sure, maybe anything's possible. And I always like to say, I remember hearing KR was hidden, as in not mingling with guests. I feel that was unless they paid. Well, and, she shouldn't have to mingle with guests. It's her home. She should have some freaking privacy. And she shouldn't have to, like, slave and cook and clean, which I would imagine she might have, probably did, which is probably why she was good to go work at a job outside of the home. And yeah, I mean, of course she would perform, and we've all seen the looks of contempt on her face as a small child when she was performing. She wasn't anybody's like wind up toy monkey, but that was kind of how she was treated. Like, oh, look at our adorable little girl that can sing and play instruments. Yeah, she was adorable, but don't you think she would rather like go play with her dolls or color or have a friend her own age than hang out with a bunch of freaking grown-ups. Like, that's the worst torture in the world for a small child or for a kid of any age, really. Grown-ups suck, don't we? From the perspective of a kid, we definitely suck. And from our own perspectives, yeah, we get stressed out and we can be idiots. So yeah, it is a horrible thought. Drift away, absolutely. Kylie was being emancipated at 17 for a reason, just like MK and X. Do you not quit nor tattle? Just like MK and X. So you're making reference to the Idaho 4, and thank you for that. This is fine. Like, I can totally keep up with that, but I just had wanted to make an announcement in general to all my people out there that it can be challenging for me sometimes when people are just using initials when we're talking about so many cases, and I might not be able to connect them. So, of course, Maddie, Kaylee, Xana, and Ethan is what she's talking about in the Idaho 4. And I did want to talk about Idaho 4 today. One of my viewers made a comment alerting me to the newest 11/11 true crime video about Idaho 4 that she just dropped yesterday. And I did get to watch it, and it was really good. I'm not in full agreement with her. I love her ideas. And we can talk about that, but I think that she's really sharp and she is great at digging, and that she could very well be precise and accurate with her concepts that she's put out there. But yeah, that case is absolutely horrifying in so many ways. Like, she was saying things in this video from yesterday that all of the doors of the bedrooms were all locked when law enforcement got there. And I never got that impression. I thought that the door upstairs to Kylie or Kaylee and Maddie's room, I thought that that door might have been open. And then I thought that the door with Ethan and Xana was also open, but I don't know. She was saying that they were locked, so I thought that was interesting. I mean, most of her theories I'm totally in tune with. That was information that was new to me. I trust her that that's accurate, but I haven't had a chance to try to find the what was it, oppressor that James Fry, Small Fry, said that. So let's see. But I totally agree, Annie, that they could have all been getting silenced. That, yeah, Kylie Rodney, certainly. There's been rumors about her having a notebook with like names and dates and information that people would not want released. There's been a lot of information in the Idaho 4 case about weird stuff that the girls knew about, especially Maddie and Kaylee, and that maybe they were going to tell. And also Ethan knowing stuff about the kid that drowned in the 3 inches of water at the fraternity. Was his name Lyndon? Spacing out on his name right now. Anyway, that they did join the fraternity together the year before, because Ethan was a second year freshman. He was having to repeat his freshman year. So, yeah, I'm totally spacing on that kid's name. You guys remember, you can help me out here if you want. Ninja agrees, and a long shot on Jennifer. Yeah, and Ninja's put out some really good videos, and, just being so mindful and respectful of our information and each other and just what we're doing here on YouTube. I think it's really important. I know I've been aligning my chakras and trying to really ground myself and refocus and make sure that my priorities are in the right place. And so far, so good. I mean, you got to stay on top of these things. I think I'm wishful thinking and desperate. Well, and I'm not going to criticize you for that at all, Mr. Mark. I'd say that's good to have wishful thinking, and it's terrible to be desperate. But yeah, I mean, we're all desperate about Kylie, and I mean, really, a lot of these cases. I'm desperate about the freaking Gabby Petito case that I think Brian Laundrie is still alive. Like that completely wigs me out. And what will ever be done about it? Hopefully, something. Um, ugh, yeah. So, with Kylie's case, I am absolutely desperate for Scammy to get uh, arrested, to get interrogated, to get investigated. I mean, they never did anything appropriate in that case at all, ever. They treated her like an outsider. Yeah, Ninja, 100%. And that makes it a lot easier to hurt somebody when you're not connecting with them, when you're kind of dehumanizing them. That's often done. I agree she was not one of them, and they made her know it. And she was freaking better than them. So that they really hated that. I mean, they really hate it with, rich kids when there's a kid in their crowd who doesn't come from money, who has talent or personality or brains or, skills. Those rich kids get really competitive and vengeful. So, I think that her release on Spotify, the Faraway song with Crepe, I think everybody in that town knew that song. And it's a really good song. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe people weren't aware of it. But I would imagine that they were. And I would imagine that it really upset some people that she was so freaking skilled and creative and had such a great sound. And yeah, I still think that that could be what got her in harm's way too, that could have put her on the radar of somebody like P. Diddy, somebody like R. Kelly. There's a lot of them. I mean, a lot more than those two. Um, I agree, Ninja. They look down their nose at KR. Plus, they all grew up together. Right. And see, she was a local and she was multi generational local, but she only moved to town when she was 7. And a lot of those kids probably knew each other from the earliest memories, like when they were toddlers. That's the way small towns usually are. So, anybody moving in later than that, later than when they're like 1 year old, 2 years old, they will be considered an outsider for the next 30 years. Like literally, that's the way small towns roll. Um, and emancipation protects parents and allows student benefits of college loans, in my opinion. Well, and Lindsay had gotten herself into a pickle with the the COVID loans, the PPE loans. So she took out loans. It sounds like that she falsified information and said she had employees that she didn't have, because those were like payroll loans, some of them for businesses to be able to keep paying their employees. And I was under the impression that's why Jägermeister and Kate Cunio moved in with her briefly, was to like be employees, because that's when she, right at the timing of when she was being investigated. But if she was under a lot of pressure financially and she owed people money, and she did have substantial bills, she alluded to that pretty directly. Um, that could be a piece of the puzzle. There could certainly be financial incentive for her to say, "Oh yeah, she passed away in a car accident. Let's move along. Let's not talk about this. We got this." Um, and seeing red flag says, "Really, I thought the doors were open too." Yeah, that's what I thought. But Mama D says they were locked. They weren't just closed, but they were locked. And she is very thorough. So I would trust that she knows what she's talking about, that maybe we missed it. But, it's easy for there to be more than one narrative out there. And so that's why these cases can be so tricky. And it's always good to keep an open mind, and always good to reevaluate and, know that you can change your mind. I mean, when the case first started with Idaho 4 and they first arrested the criminal defendant, yeah, he looked guilty as sin. I had no doubt that they got the right guy, until a couple of days later, when they had just too much evidence. That not only did they have too much evidence, but they were putting it out there to the public, which, no, the case is under investigation. That compromises the integrity of the investigation. That's what made me suspicious, was that they were putting literally hundreds of pieces of evidence out in the public arena. I was like, yeah, they're up to something. That's not how it's done. That is not how investigations are done. Period. Bad Sheet Crazy is here. Yay. And I skipped you, Batsheet. I'm so sorry. How did I do that? I'm glad I went back and saw that. And I see Nico's here. You were getting in trouble earlier, Nico, for when you were getting a manicure. I think that was you that was like blocking a bunch of people or muting people. So we were talking about you. Were your ears burning? Let's see. I think that book theory came up via a psychic medium reading on Kylie, but it is a possibility, because later I heard a reader comment to find the book, a different one. Yeah, I thought that it came up on social media from people that were there, like on the inside. So, but yeah, it's really good to try to trace back to where the information is coming from, because even if it's coming from a news source, we know that it can still be bogus. So it's way too easy for things to just do that telephone game. I really appreciate Ara highlighting that. Hi, it's me. Drift away. Yes, seems they were more than broke, owing Fed fraud cash, maybe to put money in her name, thinking from her mom's point of view. And it seemed like her granddad was trying to put the lodge in Kylie's name, maybe. Again, I don't know if that's a rumor, but what I do know is not a rumor, because I looked up the freaking lawsuits myself, is that Scammy's parents and Kylie's granddad had been in litigation for like 20 years, you guys. Active litigation for like 20 years over some of the land and water and the water rights, and that's some bad blood. I think that cannot be underscored enough, that Scammy's parents were at war with Kylie's grandfather. War. 20-year lawsuit that was still active at the time that this happened. So, and then remember that Scammy's parents have all those federal government connections. And, the case is so much like that movie, Chinatown. It's eerie. It's absolutely creepy and disgusting. And Chinatown was made in the 70s with Jack Nicholson and Faye Dunaway. And it's a very twisted story. And it's very, very just absolutely sick and twisted. And I think it's almost like a replay. Kylie Rodney's case is almost like a replay of that movie, in my opinion. Let's see. Yes, Jazz, I think Brian is alive too. Yeah, I mean, I think it's insane that people believe that whole ridiculous narrative. That was so freaking crazy. So crazy. And the feds were being light on him. Like, they weren't arresting him. They weren't interviewing him. I mean, they could have interviewed him. They pretended that they got Roberta and Brian confused. Like, they were like, oh yeah, he's still at the house. Oh wait, no, that was Roberta. We thought it was her skinny 20-year-old son. Like, no, she's like a heavier, older woman. Like, you're not going to confuse those two. at all, ever. Not from a mile away. Give me a break. I mean, they say the stupidest things. Like in the Idaho 4 case, they're like, oh, well, we thought that the criminal defendant was going to go drive the one way to get to Pennsylvania. Like, well, how did they know where he was going? I mean, just because his dad was from Pennsylvania, they could have been going to California to visit people. How on earth would they know that they were going to be driving to Pennsylvania? So they should be watching them to see where they're going to go. But then they lost him because they thought he was going to head out to Interstate 90, but instead he went south and they couldn't figure it out. 13 hours. I mean, if this was really a savage slasher dude who could do that to 4 people in like 6 minutes or whatever they say it is, you think having him off your radar for 13 hours doesn't make you liable? The whole thing is just completely insane. Completely insane. Okay. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that thinks Brian is alive. Seriously, you guys, if you think Brian Laundrie is alive, put a 1 in chat. If you think he's deceased, put a 2 in chat. I'm just curious how many 1s and how many 2s we might have, and I'll get caught up to those numbers as quickly as I can. Kylie Rodney may wanted money to live her life away from Truckee or family or threats. Totally agree with that. Jazz comments about her talent and their jealousy of. Well, yeah, she was a strong spirited individual. She was badass. She didn't care what people thought. Yeah. She was spicy. Isn't that the word that her mom used? That she could be spicy? It's like, come on, she's a freaking 16-year-old. I don't know a single 16-year-old in my lifetime that couldn't be spicy. Give me a freaking break. Fred Field, hello. So nice to see you guys. Thank you for being here, mods and everyone. I really appreciate your being in my live. I missed having a live yesterday, so I was determined to make one happen today. The song might have lit the fuse. Kylie Rodney song. I agree. I mean, I've caught up on all that R. Kelly crap. And yeah, people like him were always looking for new talent. And especially like the hot ones, the young ones, they like them young. And so, and they want to be the first to swoop in and sign them and produce them. So yeah, she was probably known. She probably was known in some music circles. She definitely was known in music circles. I mean, my goodness, her granddad had all those famous musicians come perform with her from the time she was really young. So yeah, she was well known. Okay, that puts it to a whole new level. You guys have got to watch the R. Kelly stuff if you're interested. It's very well done. I haven't mentioned how freaking well done it was because at first I mentioned how horrifying it was to watch, and then that it wasn't as hard to watch the second season or the third season, but all the way through from start to finish, it is so well put together. It's very well edited. It's very well produced. It's very well thought out. Please watch the Surviving R. Kelly series. I think it's really important. And the people who put it together, they just deserve all kinds of gold medals, and especially the survivors that are telling their stories. It's so powerful to see these people kicking butt and speaking their truth and living their lives and putting these dirt bags in their places. It's absolutely phenomenal. It's very positive. See, that's the thing that people don't realize when they don't know true crime, is that there's a lot of positivity in true crime. Like justice, right? I've got my Led Zeppelin hat and I was just noticing that it might be crooked. Can't have that. Get the lead out. Okay, I'm going to get caught up so I can see how many 1s and 2s. No notification again, building a guilty trial before even charging him. I don't know. Let's see. Here, should I just jump ahead? Oh, look, everybody thinks that. Really, we don't have a single 2? It's okay if you think he's deceased. Well, isn't that cool that we're all part of the same conspiracy theories? Okay. No, I don't think it's a conspiracy theory. I think it's a conspiracy to say that he's passed away and then to put that on the news and all that. Absolutely stupid. Um, I didn't pay any attention, Driftaway says, to that case because no way one person went into a house and offed 4 people out of 6. Right. Just the 4 out of 6 doesn't add up. I mean, yes, Ted Bundy did something like that. I think it was 3 out of 5 or something. But Ted Bundy was before everybody had cell phones and cameras and videos. Everybody could dial 911 in a split second and surveillance cameras outside of their houses. So Ted Bundy, I don't even think we can compare it. I really don't. Um, because that was just such a different time. And now, this was the whole thing with the cops outside and their body cams and the people running across the screen. So that was one of the things that 1111 Mama D talked about. And she talked about how Ashley Banfield was the first person to see that. I don't think Ashley Banfield was the first person to see that. I think that other content creators saw it and then Ashley stole the credit from the other content creators. That's my theory. But these big time channels and newscasters, they do that. They steal stuff from the little guys because they can, and then they try to pretend that they're clever. And it's like, have some integrity. Just give credit where credit's due. Like, she should have given a shout out to whoever it was that saw that. Maybe it was her, but I don't think so. Anyway, those 4 people running across the screen, their shadows running across the screen in the background, like right between those drunk guys and 1122 King Road. That was crazy. It was crazy that the body cams were available. It was crazy everything that you could see in them. And I honestly think that that was all intentional. I think that those police, undercover police with the body cams, were planted. I think that they were intentionally videotaping from far away, that they knew what was going on. That's just my conspiracy theory opinion. But I do believe that deep in my soul, every cell in my body knows that that's the truth. Because right away I was like, oh my goodness, they've got body cam footage from 301 that morning that it happened somewhere between 2:52 and 4 a.m. How convenient. And I thought, that's great. Maybe there's something on there that'll help them solve the case. And then the way it all panned out was just too freaking weird. The whole case. Like, those undercover guys were planted. How come it went back? Why does it do that? They have said the stupidest things about all of these cases. It went way back. It's 5:58. Okay, I'm just like 8 minutes behind, 7 minutes behind. Truth Tsunami's here. Hello, my dear. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming in. Scammy parents are close in age to Kylie's grandpa. Oh, that's a really good point too. Because yeah, she's the youngest of the kids. Her siblings are a lot older than her. I think one of her siblings might be 40 and another one is in their 30s, and then she's maybe 20 now. So quite an age range. So yeah, and Lindsay's not even that old. I mean, Lindsay's probably in her 40s, and then her husband is probably younger than her, like maybe 40 at the oldest. So yeah, that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Thank you, Nico. Very good point. And Annie says gathering cell info from 3 to 5 because they know it was done by 3. We watched Black Truck leave, in my opinion. Yeah. Yeah, I always thought that it was done in the earlier part of the 3 o'clock hour than what, um, when the first range was from 3 to 4. They're not going to put that information out there unless they know for a fact that it was between 3 and 4. So then when they tried to go with everything started at exactly 4, like on the nose, and that the freaking food was delivered at about 4, around 4, when you're going to have a timestamp for that DoorDash being delivered. That was crazy. But they were just trying to set the clock at 4. And then they're trying to set up this whole thing with just, the lone uh, assailant with the frozen shock syndrome chick that says she saw the lone assailant when it was obviously multiple assailants. Like, there's just no way. There's just no way. Even if they were ninjas trained in the army and paratroopers, even if, I still don't think one could have done all of that in that setting that quickly without people being lookouts at the very least and helping in other ways. Um, yeah. So did Richard spec the nurses, but he got caught? I'm not sure who that one is. Cell info from 3 to 5. Please explain. I think my video audio are delaying. Cell info from 3 to 5. I think they were like gathering pings and stuff like that off of the phones, like um, Koberger's phone and all the other people around there. So, you guys, you know what I learned today on the news radio is that O.J. Simpson had a cell phone in the white Bronco during the slow speed chase back in 1994, was it? That's how they found him, was his cell phone. So back then nobody had a cell phone and nobody really knew that you could be found by your cell phone. So I just thought that was funny because I never knew how he was discovered as they started that slow speed chase, but they GPSed his cell phone. Is that so cool? Technology is great for helping figure out crimes. Oh, dang, you're live on a Saturday. Sorry, I'm late, just getting back home. Very cool. No, well, I couldn't go live yesterday. It's a good thing that I decided not to because I had other stuff going on. I just had to run errands, and I don't think it was anything more than that. But I knew that I had to run some errands, and I was wiped, you guys. Recovering from that bout of vertigo has been quite a trip. And it's been a pretty smooth sailing, but it was a very serious situation that took me to the ER. And I've been on the mend ever since, but that was last Thursday night. And something I figured out, and I want to share this with you guys because I think we all need to be really cautious of the food that we eat for a lot of reasons. But I think I shared with you guys that I had food poisoning, I believe. I think I had 2 strains of food poisoning because the tofu thing that I ate that I know was part of the food poisoning, my husband ate the next day and he was not well the next day, but he didn't get vertigo and he didn't have to go to the ER. But I had a Caesar salad that all of the lettuce was brown. And so I threw away all the lettuce, but I kept the chicken that was in there and the shredded Parmesan cheese. And then I put it with new lettuce. And I think that I got like listeria or something from that. I think I got both strains of food poisoning. And I think the stress of everything and then Shazam, freaking vertigo. And you got to be careful with food poisoning because it can be fatal. There's plenty of fatal food poisoning cases. So, yeah, it really freaked me out. Like, I'm going to start growing all my own food. Not really. I'm a master conspiracy theorist, so cynical. I love it. I like Julio, the Julio The theorizing theorist. I like that name. And I thought he had a lot of good ideas. Does he still do a channel like on YouTube or a different platform that I'm not aware of? Hello, squirrels. Late to the convo, but it sounds like you're speaking on Idaho 4. Well, we've been speaking about Kylie quite a bit too. We're just kind of doing the regular, like all over the map. You know, Amanda Knox, the Watts case, OJ, you name it. Other things that other people are talking about that I'm like, huh? Richard Speck? I don't know who he is. Hey. Yeah, Brian. Where'd that go? Where did it go? Brian deceased about like saying Kylie was an accident. Same with we lost Brian Laundrie. Yeah. Yep. Agreed. And then, you know, when you've got the federal government in on it, like the FBI saying, you know, playing it the way they played it in Kylie's case too, and in the Idaho 4 and in Brian Laundrie's, you know, we tend to trust the FBI and we tend to think that they have more integrity than other law enforcement entities. And a lot of people think they have less. So, of course, it depends on who the agent is and what department it is, because they're not all bad. And I like to point that out because I am a strong supporter of law enforcement. We need our law enforcement. We need to have trustworthy law enforcement. You know, their transparency is the law. Sure, they can lie when they need to get the information that they need in an interrogation or something like that. But they need to be transparent in the end after the investigation is wrapped up. And they do need to wrap up their investigations, right? They can't leave them open forever so that nobody can ever get the information. No one can ever do an information request. But yeah, you know, there's some officers that just don't document. And that is something that happened a lot in Moscow. And you know, their police blotter would say, you know, no report taken. Like, what? I don't think there was a report made for the brain on the dumpster. Maybe there was, but there were a lot of calls that it would say in the information, no report taken. And then when people make a public records request, it's like, well, there's nothing to give them. There was no report taken. So, let's see. My kid would be impressed. How convenient filming 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. sequel Killing the Clones. Yeah. And you're talking about the people that had the cameras set up on the road behind the house, up behind the house. And that house was so bizarre. I mean, the architecture of that house, it was the oddest looking building. And, you know, on a hill and in a backyard and lots of additions. The house was definitely targeted. Yep. Yeah. Good to see everybody here, squirrels, and you. Oh, and I got your things sent off yesterday, so I think you'll probably get them tomorrow. I got you and Annie and Sandra Lankford all sent off in the mail. So excited. I have the one person who won the Bobo T earrings who hasn't emailed me her address. And I do have another pair of Bobo T earrings. So I'm going to give away a second pair of Bobo T earrings today to the first person that comments after we wrap it up. And I'll try to remind you guys at the end. I usually forget. But the first person who comments in the comment section in today's video after the live ends will get another pair of the Bobo T earrings. They're just so cute, aren't they? And I don't think I have them handy that I can show them to you, which is unfortunate because they're so freaking adorable. Let me just see if they're handy. They might be. I don't think they are, though. I've got all these drawers right in front of me, and I got all kinds of cool stuff in them, mostly jewelry. because that's my thing. That's my jam. I've got some other funny earrings that I'll save for another time. They're really funny. Oh, and did I knock down the thing? I did. Let me put that back up, and I'll show you these other earrings because they're so hilarious. And I might just go ahead and give them away too, because it's fun to give stuff away. Just you have to be organized. That's the only problem. But if I'm giving away smaller stuff, it's easier to ship it. It's easier to package it, and it's less expensive too. So let's give away these goofy earrings. Can you see these? They're like popsicles with little faces on them. So maybe these will go to the second person that comments after we wrap up. So we'll have Bobo tea for the first commenter, popsicles for the second. Okay, so back to business. Let's see. Enough of that, right? We got, like I've said, Shan, it's like a project, the whole giving stuff away, but it is fun. And I love doing it. So I think you guys probably have fun with it too. I listened to an earlier press release. Payne said, I think we have two when asked how many people committed the slayings. Payne spoke in a press release? Really, Annie? I would be so curious if you have something that you could email to me. I would love to see that, because I don't remember Payne in speaking any of the press releases that I remember. Maybe I saw one and I just don't remember. Because I don't think I know his voice. I don't think I know what he sounds like. Probably like a Keebler elf, right? That was mean, but I had to. Okay. I just have no respect for him. I mean, not sorry. He's definitely not trustworthy. One guy who went into a house of 8 nurses, I think it was, and ended them all but one. Oh, thank you, Driftaway. When was that? That was a long time ago, wasn't it? Was it in Florida? That's gross. Hi, everyone. I was blocked for 5 to unsub and resub to set it. Oh, weird. Maybe that's what happened with Shan's. Maybe I've been unsubbed and maybe she has her set so only subs can comment. Because that's how most of us do it. I mean, even if you only have to be a sub for a minute, you want people to not just hop in and say stupid stuff and leave the way the trolls do. They have to hang out for 20 minutes, which, they don't have that kind of attention span. Squirrels on fire. Okay, let's see. Cosmic Kate. Anybody else coming in that I am not saying hello to? Hi, Cosmic Kate. Nice to see you. And love your posts. They are such a blessing. Yeah. Sagali. I think I can say it now. I still like calling you Truth Tsunami. I just looked it up. It was all 8. One was SA before he ended her. Oh, that's so gross. So you guys know the Aaliyah plane crash that she and 8 others passed away in? I just found out yesterday that 3 people survived that plane crash. I thought everybody passed away, but I think it was a 10-seater and that they had more people in there than they were supposed to. And that might be what caused the accident. I don't know, but maybe it was an 8-seater even. Anyway, there were 9 people that deceased. One of them didn't die in the plane crash, but died later at the hospital. But then there were 3 people that survived. I had no idea. So I wanted to share that with you guys because I had given out the wrong information before. And I think that that's what it says in a lot of places, is that everybody died in the plane crash. Maybe because they don't want to admit that there was an illegal number of people on the plane, because then people would be liable that probably weren't on the plane, like the company, the record company, the producers. So how many FBI agents in Moscow, Idaho that weekend? Good question, Nico. Oh, Nico, your comments are not appearing? I think, no, I think they are. I think maybe I just wasn't reading them out loud. Sorry. Um, so let's see. Seriously, this week has been so stressful. Your posts have been so encouraging. Yeah, we see you, Nico. Sorry, my eyes were like jumping over it. Sometimes that happens. Jazz, do you know about colloidal silver? It can kill the bacteria before it causes food poisoning. I don't know anything about colloidal silver, but I will write it down. Um, Colloidal silver. So I have been learning about the third eye opening up, and that can feel like vertigo too. So I'm just kind of going with it. I'm like, yeah, I think I had the vertigo from the double food poisoning, but I'm going to go with the third eye opening up. I want Bobo tea earrings, Nico says. Well, what about the popsicles? So Nico, just be the first one to comment in when I wrap it up. Just remind yourself to do that. And we are just at about an hour. We can go for a little while longer. I don't know how many FBI, but I think it was their entire team. And yeah, how many freaking FBI were there in Truckee when Kylie went missing? That was weird. I don't know how many FBI. Okay, I'm reading that again. I'm going to highlight it. Try to get caught up because what am I? 6 minutes behind. Okay. Time to pierce my ears and nose and eyebrows. LOL. Well, yeah, Mark, you got to be hip. You got to be cool. Come on. I'm very glad to help. It has been a stressful, I don't know why, but just seems like an odd week. Well, the whole like Mercury retrograde thing, right? Um, Driftaway says 1966. That was that disgusting freak that killed all the nurses. Richard Speck. Was it Florida? Seems like it was Florida. Mine is set to sub for 6 hours. Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. Because, yeah, that's how you avoid the trolls. And, yeah, I'm sure you got a ton of trolls. No cell phone, no house cams, but they still solved it. Yeah. But he probably didn't do it in like 20 minutes, right? It probably took him a minute more than that, maybe 21 minutes or something. No, say stupid on my channel, no requirements for me. Sub and hit the bell. Squirrels on Fire notifications just come hours after you start. Shan, I missed your lives. Fell asleep last night. And Batshit likes the little popsicles. They're hilarious, aren't they? YouTube definitely sends me late notices too. I'm surprised I caught Jazz live today. And Mark says that he sees Nico. No, there were many errors in not posting. Huh. Maybe you had some keywords in there that YouTube didn't like or something? I don't know. Like the red stuff, that's a word to not use, or sex or other stuff. I'm sure you know these things, but sometimes we need to be reminded. Yes, YouTube sending very late notices, and I think Spec was in mid to late 60s. BSC. What's BSC? So 1966 is probably the year for Richard Speck. What that is, I don't know what BSC is. If you want to help me out with that. Yay, I'm caught up. And where is my phone? Because it's making annoying sounds. Where did it go? I don't even know where it is. It just needs to shut up. Here it is. That's weird. It was doing all these notifications. Okay. So, gonna look at my notes for a minute here. You guys, you know how I don't like to talk smack about other channels except when I think it's necessary. This, what does he call himself? The DD channel, the Deception Detective. He thought that Nicole Kessinger lied sometimes, but that she had absolutely nothing to do with anything, and that she was as much of a victim of Chris Watts as his wife and kids were. So, therefore, to me, he's insane. Like, first of all, if she's lying, and she's talking to cops, and you're not supposed to lie. And he thinks that he knows which things are lies and which things aren't lies. Anyway, that blew my mind that he was an NK supporter. I thought my people would want to know that. Um, I have a sis who is a creepy crime buff. Oh, that knows all about that case. What's BSC? Like, I'm thinking British Columbia, but I don't know what BSC is, because that would just be BC. And Sigali says, I don't care much for his opinion. Well, it's unfortunate because, he comes across as if he knows what he's talking about, but I don't think he does have a clue. I mean, what he said about Scammy's analysis, what he said about NK's analysis, he's a good talker. He says he's a lawyer. Most people that are trained lawyers know how to speak, and they have a good vocabulary, and they know how to be persuasive. And it's unfortunate when they're full of it. So I think he's full of it. And, I really like to focus on the content creators that are speaking from the heart, that are willing to take risks, that are willing to go out on a limb and not just stick with the status quo. And I don't think he's one of those at all. I think he's quite the opposite. So, Seeing Red Flag says, I saw that and I disagree with him 100%. I don't think we are getting the gist of deceptive detective in his title. Personal opinion. Drift away. I think you're right. I mean, he could be some kind of psyops. And I still will remind you guys how much I love Martin Decoder. I know there's a handful of good analysts out there that do that type of thing, but I really think Martin Decoder is great at it. And yeah, I wish he would do Scammy. He's done NK, he's done Amanda Knox. I really wish he'd do Scammy. So maybe we can bombard him with emails and comments, trying to encourage him to look into that. Wouldn't that be cool? I know I've got fans of his in my chat here. BSC, batshit crazy. Thank you, Driftaway. I appreciate that. Like I said, there's too many letters. More letters. He is 0 for 2. A lot of what he thinks about these people goes against common sense, in my opinion, and it goes with the status quo. It is 100% against common sense and goes with the status quo. And, a lot of this status quo stuff that is absolute BS doesn't make sense, but because it comes from authorities, people buy it, because it comes from the police chief, because it comes from mainstream media, because it comes from the president of the university. Like, those people can be as full of it as anybody. And we need to keep that in mind. Just because it comes from a source that should be credible doesn't mean that it is credible. Yeah. Batshit crazy is me, BSC. All right. So, oh, what was this? Okay. I think that talking about Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Yeah, I want to talk about Hannah Gutierrez Reed for a second, because she wants Baldwin to be put in jail too. She also thinks that all of the producers should be put in jail. So, not that I agree with her 100%, but I like her spirit of that. And I think she's right. I think that they're trying to hang the whole thing on her when she definitely is responsible for her part, which is huge. She's the armorer. She's huge. As far as the safety of the guns, she is the mechanism that is between a lethal weapon and everybody's life that's on set. She's that person. So it definitely comes down on her. But I think it also comes down on Alec Baldwin and how he was really running the show and how chaotic it was and how many other negligent firings of weapons there were. And then the whole thing with the freaking rattlesnake and the explosive and just all of it. All of it. Just his attitude. He was the one who hired her and she was 23. I mean, why would you hire somebody that young when you have that many weapons in your production? A lot of productions just have like one. This is a Western. I think they had hundreds out there. So yeah, I would agree with her that Baldwin and all the producers should be held as accountable as her. And she thinks the whole thing is funny. Says the media is a dumb biatch. And she also blames the medics for Helena's passing, which is just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So let's read a little bit more of what I have here. She tried to use her dad's cancer as an excuse to why she shouldn't get any jail time, that she could be his only caretaker, and that therefore she should just be on probation because her dad has cancer. It'd be nice if that's the way the world works, but that ain't how it works. Reality sucks sometimes. Reality bites. So she also thinks that the Supreme Court will overturn the verdict, you guys. This is from all of her phone conversations that were transcribed that the judge got to see, which is why she was so fed up with this little Hannah Gutierrez. Hannah said that she doesn't need to shake all the dummies and people are still going to die on set. These are her words, you guys, in phone conversations. I don't need to shake all those dummies. People are still going to die on set. And then one of my favorite parts, that she won't show up to Baldwin's trial, even if subpoenaed. And she was upset that Baldwin didn't testify at her trial. I think it's interesting that Baldwin did not testify at her trial. So what else? Oh, I got a funny one for you guys. Are you ready? This is kind of out there, but you're going to like it. You know how people talk about fur babies? This was on Wait, Don't Tell Me. So this was this morning on Wait, Don't Tell Me. Maybe some of you guys heard it. So they were talking about how people call their pets their fur babies. This person said, well, I don't have any pets. So you don't want to know what she called her kids. I might pee my pants if I say it. I'm going to crack up. She calls her kids. Are you ready? Can you guess? She calls her kids skin dogs. Like I said, I can't even say it. She calls her kids skin dogs. The way people call their pets fur babies. Oh my God. Like, good thing I didn't pee my pants, but I do have the tears in my eyes, so I'm not going to be able to read your chat or my notes. Skin dogs. There, I can say it. Is that too effing funny? That was a good one. I was cracking up. But yeah, repeating it to you guys gave me an even better laugh. Let's see. What did I miss? What did I miss? He may be able to read body language, but in my opinion, he does not have discernment. Well, and he's just not able to think for himself. Like he's always going to go with the status quo. He's never going to say like that FBI is wrong or that the authorities are wrong or that mainstream media is wrong. Never, in my opinion. And maybe he has, and I'm wrong about that. See, I'm I'd like to try to keep an open mind because I don't watch him very much at all. I've watched a couple and that's it. I don't think I'm going to put any more time into that. Let's not forget that we have an entire culture that wants to understand the minds of unalivers. He might be part of them. Oh, I think they are normal and just snap from time to time. Yeah, there's a lot of plants on YouTube, a lot of plants. We got to be really careful about the channels that we choose to subject ourselves to, because we will get our brains melted, even from people that aren't trying to melt them. You know, it's just part of what happens with the social media and with the YouTube, right? I'm sorry if I'm melting your brains right now, but isn't that so funny? Skin dogs. Skin dogs and skin cats, you could call your kids. Too funny. Too freaking funny. It's kind of gross too, but it's hilarious. Okay. Yes, you might be on to something. Baldwin is just as guilty, in my opinion. Yeah, I think he's more guilty because I think he set it up to make it look like it was Hannah's fault. And I think that he did it entirely intentional. And I think that that producer that yelled at Helena the night before with the cursey words, what was his name? I want to say Andy, but that's not it. There were two of them with the same name. Anybody remember? Anyway, the one that yelled, I'm going to just Google it. Who yelled explicatives at Helena? Who yelled at Helena Hutchins the night before she was shot? At Helena Hutchins the night before she was killed. The night before she was killed. Oh, that's funny. My video is the first one that shows up. You who yelled expletives at Helena Hutchins hours before. That's so funny. But which guy was it? I don't think I'm going to find it right here. But I know that I have it in that video. How cool is that? That my video is the first one that showed up from Google. Wow. And then Court TV, and then Today, and then ABC7. But that's only because the question, probably, and maybe because it's coming from my phone. Maybe that's you guys. What if you Google who yelled at Helena Hutchins the night before she was killed and see what comes up for you? Ryan. I think his name was Ryan. I think there were two Ryans that were producers. Anyway, interesting. Sorry when I get sidetracked on my gadget, and then got to get back to reality here with you guys, and my eyes are still all bleary from cracking up about the skin dogs. Sorry. Am I the only one that thinks that's hilarious, or are you guys with me on that? The only way for her to win was to quit the movie, but that would have ended her career. Her carrier, but I'm sure you meant career. Are you talking about Helena? Because yeah, she wasn't going to quit that movie. That movie was a huge feather in her cap. To be working with an A-lister like Baldwin and to be working on a Western, on a period piece. And the guy who she was filling in for, he left because he didn't want to get hurt by something like that. And then it happens as soon as he leaves. That large, heavyset guy that was the assistant cameraman, he was the one who did all the heavy lifting. Like, she was like the choreographer that would like tell everybody what to do, and then he was the one who would do it because those cameras are huge. Yeah, Baldwin is guilty. His movie, his investment, his fault. We'll see it, and I still think that it was intentional because he was mad with her. Like, I don't think it was an accident. I think it was made to look like an accident. That's just my opinion. What were real bullets doing on set anyway? Right. And I think they've determined that the real bullets came from Hannah, so that was another reason why it hung on her. But yeah, there should have not been real bullets, and then even if there were, he shouldn't have been pointing his gun directly at Helena, and he shouldn't have been firing it. Right? And that sheet says, that's what I want to know too. The true question, Driftaway says, CN, that's what I always wondered. Yeah, SKINDOGS, Batsheet likes that. This is hilarious, isn't it? Yeah. You guys are cracking up. Me too. Real bullets are never supposed to be on set. They're not supposed to be anywhere near a set. And Hannah had asked if her and her friends could target practice when they weren't working, and she was told no, and then she did it anyway, allegedly, right? I just saw the SS one, and nope, dude, you are so off. Could not be further off reading someone's interview. Go back to school, junior detective. Yeah. Yeah. He was pretty off with NK too, because I don't think that some of what she says is true. I think everything she says is a lie. I think like she's a lie. Like she's 100% deceptive. And if somebody's going to be deceptive about one thing, they're not going to be truthful about other things. And because it's all connected, you know, you can't just have one lie or 5 lies and then 95 things that are true. I mean, you just can't trust somebody. If they're going to lie once, they're going to lie again. So that's the whole thing with liars. That's why we don't like them. I agree. I started getting some very terrible channels recommended to me. Yeah, I know. Keep your shields up, because I think that YouTube would like to melt our brains. Like that's probably their end game, right? I've dwindled down my channels. Yeah, I need to do that. I need to go thin them out, because sometimes I sub up to a bunch of new ones and then I try to reduce them. That's crazy. I believe you. I'm not sure what you're referring to. Tsunami, when you say Anna, that's crazy. I believe you. Oh, about getting bad channels recommended. Yep, I'm careful too. Yeah, we need to be. Yes, there's some really gross stuff on YouTube. Yeah, yeah, they always try to like get us to get distracted by some gross stuff, right? Although I will give YouTube some credit. They've been trying to distract me with a lot of art stuff, which I kind of appreciate. I would like to watch it, but I don't, because I have other priorities. So, but it is fun. But that one that I recommended to you guys, that one girl that's in her 20s that has like 19 million subs and does all the amazing anime art, I'm starting to think that she is not a real person, that she might be artificial intelligence. So I'm curious what you guys think. I can't remember her name right now. Again, I'm going to use Google. Anime artist. Wait. Anime artist on YouTube with millions of followers. There's probably a lot, right? Who is the most popular anime YouTuber? Man, there's a ton of them. No, this is funny because it's saying like these top ones with like 3.7 million subscribers, and she's got 19 million. So I can't think of her name. Do you guys remember? She's really adorable. The blonde hair, really, really cute. Anyway, if you remember, I'll try to write it down and remind you guys, because I'm curious if people know if it's artificial intelligence or if it's an actual person. If it's an actual person, she is extremely talented, but I think it's somebody who's very talented at this artificial intelligence, because with that many subs and that many views, they got to be raking in, I would think, 6 figures every month. Easy. So let's see. Algorithms get flooded with creepy stuff that, yes, why else did it have live ammo? Exactly. I have family that is in the industry. Live rounds are never allowed on set, not allowed near a set. Absolutely. MK guilty of something, in my opinion. You probably meant NK. So we can't trust any Ellie. Beam over to. Um, well, law enforcement is absolutely allowed to lie to people to get their job done. Absolutely. And they have to have that immunity and that authority, but I see it get abused, and that's not okay. It's okay for them to do that to get their job done, but it's not okay for them to do that because they feel like it, which, you know, it's a tricky business. I mean, I really respect law enforcement, not just because my spouse is in that field, but it's a very noble profession, and it's harder now than it ever was, in my opinion. I mean, they got to be ready for like live open shooters any second of the day, anywhere, anytime, any place. And, police get ambushed, and they've got targets on their back too. But the most dangerous thing for cops to do, you guys, you probably know this, but maybe you don't. The two most dangerous things for police to do, where they get fatalities, is just a regular pullover, just a regular road stop, and just routine, very dangerous. They get hit by cars. Not so much the bad guy in the car like ambushing them. It's just people texting and driving or speeding or not giving them enough room. So that's probably the most common way that law enforcement meets their maker. The other one is domestic violence. Domestic violence is absolutely terrorism, in my opinion, and it's a hate crime, in my opinion. But anybody who gets anywhere near the situation is in great danger. Anybody. So kids, family, friends, law enforcement, those are the two things that cost police their lives more than anything. And, routine traffic stop, that's part of their job. They have to do that every day. Domestic violence is extremely common, extremely common. So let's see. Where is the gross stuff getting? Mark, yeah. Be careful. That's funny. Driftway. Oh my God, Jazz, your look and the background noise in my house. I had a small panic. I was hearing sirens and not sure if it was from you or them. Woo. Wow. So there's not sirens here. Are your sirens near you? I've been getting gardening videos. LOL. I love that. And also home improvement. Yeah. That's cool stuff. Like just dominoes, like that is some cool stuff. And yeah, I love the art, but I could like watch art all day and then not get the other things done that I want to get done. So I just watch a tiny bit of it. I'm getting P. Diddy videos, LOL. I recommend staying abreast with that stuff because I think we're going to be seeing more and more of it. Hopefully we'll see more people like him getting busted. And I mean, he hasn't even been busted yet. I honestly think that the raids on his properties were as much, if not more, about getting evidence to protect certain people as it was to get evidence to use against him. So I get food prep, homesteading, TC, true crime, horse fouling and racing, gardening, and cleaning. I don't do any of them. Oh, that's funny. The cleaning. So maybe your phone or your devices are seeing that things need cleaning. Because, yeah, I mean, it's like they're spying on us so that they know what to send us. 100%. Like, that's not a surprise. We've got to be fully aware of that. I was too, but I was also clicking on them to find out what the heck. Um, is that candles over your right shoulder? Yeah, I've got lots of candles behind me, all around me. I've got my mic falling. Sorry. So I've got a ton of candles, big candles, little candles. So which is my right shoulder? I'm not even going to try to figure it out. But the coolest thing is the chakra tower that I have behind me. And then I've got these little tiny baby chakra earrings. I've shown you these once before, but I actually took them apart and redid them. Here, let's see. It's hard to see the colors because it gets so washed out. Is that so cool? Those are little like semi-precious gemstones. And yeah, they used to be more complicated, and I often take things apart to simplify them because less is more. So I'm constantly overdoing things and then trying to trying to back out, trying to undo. Sorry, this thing won't stay put. Gravity, it's out to get me. Candles over your right shoulder reminds me of Circle E candles. I have them. So yeah, and none of them are like real candles with flames. I used to do that when I first started YouTube, but then I'm like, yeah, I'm going to have a freaking fire. So they're all like the electric candles. I opted for don't show me this on him. Yuck and ew. That's weird. Sounds like stuff I'd watch. Me Too Tsunami. Once again, it seems like all the conspiracy theories are true. Right. Um, and you said conspiracy. I put the theories in there because, yeah, if it's a conspiracy, then it's not a theory, it's truth. I watch them all. I just don't do any of them. And the thing, what defines a conspiracy is just that there's more than one person planning it. That's all. Like, people use the C word like it's so crazy. Like, how could more than one person plan anything? Yeah, right. I watch them all. I just don't do any of them. I kind of think he unalived Tupac at this point. I definitely think he unalived Tupac and Biggie, or he knows who unalived Biggie. And I also think he unalived Kim Porter. And I don't know if the information is true that her case is reopened now. So it certainly seems like it's going to be reopened if it hasn't been. How do you block them? I block the ones I don't like, and they show back up again. Like MC Ultra comes into my algorithm. Like, are you kidding me? No. And Drift, that's a good list of videos. Biggie 2, Tsunami says, yeah. And 3 dots on the right. The 3 dots on the right are, yeah. Let's see, 3 dots on the right. Can't block, but can say, don't show me this or not interested. I thought you were talking about these 3 dots on the right, those candles. So those are real candles, but they have little candles behind them. So they're just like round globes. Let's see. The 3 dots on the right. Yeah, right click. Seeing red flags, you press on the channel name and choose do not recommend. Yay. But you'll have to redo it because it'll try to recommend it to you again down the road. It's like it wants to give you what you don't want. Yes, and what Drift said too, the 3 dots. I'm a sucker for animal shorts. Cosmic Kate. I know. See, it's easy to get lost in these things. Baby videos and animals and babies together. They're great. Yes. Yes, so hard to be law enforcement. And they're very underpaid, except like the university, Washington State University, overpaid. California Sheriff Department, overpaid. But then again, living in California is extremely expensive. But still, that guy, Placer County, Wayne Wu. Oh, he makes a lot of money. Sam Brown makes a lot of money. Shannon Moon makes a lot of money. That guy over there in Hawaii, Ick Man, that police chief for Maui, Pelletier from Vegas, he makes a lot of money. And he asked for like a $40,000 raise right after he started. And he was already making six figures. And they gave it to him. They gave him more than what he asked for. Like, oh, it's so gross. And Brush Junkie just dropped a new one talking about the government funding that is overly zealous for some people and still not anything, just spitting in the ocean for locals. Still, that $700 was not per person when the fires first happened over there in the Lahaina fires. It was $700 per household. But I think you had to own your house, or did you have to rent your house to get that 700? There were a lot of parameters around it, and like that's nothing. That is absolutely nothing. And of course, the people who got it, it was something, and they tried to show gratitude because they didn't want to look bad, basically. But come on, freaking Maui, $700 when you lost everything? That's ridiculous. I agree that the FBI raided Pedo Diddy's house to protect bigger people. Yeah. Yeah, that's a huge element of it. Absolutely. And probably politicians. Well said, Jazz. Tough to be LE. He is FBI informant. Vids are used to blackmail politicians. Yeah, I've heard that about the informant stuff. And yeah, the videos, they're used to hold over people's heads big time. Absolutely. That's something that is kind of a European British thing, as far as I know, that they've been doing that for hundreds of years. Making people do very compromising things at parties, and then they can use that to blackmail people. Very cute. Driftaway says, "Oh, the little what are they called again? Chakras. Those are pretty, Jazz. Thank you." Well, I purchased them and then I took them apart and redid them. They were expensive too, since they're little real gemstones. Let's see. Ordered Temu earrings. Never again. Yeah, I got these at my friend's boutique that I got that cool blue bead stone necklace from. I've gotten some really cool stuff from her. It's a nice little shop. She's got one in Estes Park, Colorado. Thank you, Anna Driftaway. And my sister had no idea we can block videos. You guys, is Suzanne Morphew's husband going to get arrested again? Like, this is bugging me. Her remains were found, what was that, like 9 months ago? I would imagine that there's an arrest underway. I hope so. I hope so. Man, that guy's a freaking gaslighter. And then his poor daughters, like, do they have Stockholm syndrome, or are they just, can't see the forest through the trees? Probably both. I mean, it's just too horrifying to admit that kind of stuff to yourself. And one of his daughters and him seem like they have a very inappropriate alliance, to say the least. Background is very pretty. Thank you, Batsheet Crazy. I love it. And yeah, I'd like to get out of the way so you guys can see this guy. No, not that guy. The full what do you say? The not my thigh. The chakra all the way down to the red globe. But you're only going to be able to see it if I get up. There. See? Full view. Okay. Yeah, I got a black mini dress on, so I have to be careful. Be careful. No pants. I usually try to put pants on even with a dress for that very reason. but I lost my pants. What can I say? Oh, that's a funny joke. I'll tell you guys another time because we're already at an hour and 44 minutes. I think I've told you the no pants joke before, haven't I? I'll just tell it real quick. I know it's off base, off track, but not off base, but definitely off track. It was Family Feud, and the guy that was the family that was trying to win the money at the end with that rapid thing. The first one to go got almost the entire 200 points. They got like 177 or something like that. So the next family member only had to get like, 20 or 30 points, which is easy. He didn't get any. He didn't get enough anyway. They didn't win the money, which was hilarious. But because of his answers to the questions, and one of them was name something that kids name an article of clothing that kids often lose, and he was like, pants. And it got 0. So it was like mittens, I think, and maybe socks or something like that. Jackets, I don't know. But anyway, lost my pants is one of mine and my husband's favorite jokes. And that's where it originated from. They have the meaning of conspiracy incorrect. That's our left lady, LOL. Wait, what? You talking about when I said politicians? Cosmic, my favorite is when you order a blanket and it shows up as a baby blanket. Oh, yeah, like the bait and switch. People scam you online. I'm so excited after this live. I'm blocking some videos. Yay, seeing red flags. Yeah, I know. I need to clean up my subscriptions too. Cosmic, I ordered earrings from Wish. Pretty happy with them. Yay. I used to be big on van and bus conversions to RVs. Now dog videos and Kylie. Yeah. I know. Kylie is so cool. She really was the queen of cool. I've caught up on learning a lot about Aaliyah, and I think Kylie was of that caliber. Aaliyah was amazing, and she was ready to do the next 2 Matrix movies when she had her unfortunate demise. Pelletier is from the Vegas mass shooting. Exactly. He wasn't the police chief. He was like a captain or something, but he was the one in charge. And yeah, that was weird that he then goes over to Hawaii, and then his assistant passes away in a very bizarre car accident. And she'd been working for the police department for like 30 years. She was very well loved. She passed away maybe 2.5 months after he was sworn in. I think she passed away in February. I think he was sworn in December. And I think she probably knew things he didn't want her to know. And then it was 1.5 years into his position when the fires in Lahaina happened. But what I didn't know is that the governor was brand new and the mayor was brand new. Like they were both in their first few months when that happened, you guys. So Governor Green, because Coomer Scott Green is the president over at the University of Idaho. And then this Dr. Scott is the governor of Hawaii. And then the man who was the mayor had just won that election. So I think the mayor was elected and the governor is definitely elected. But they'd only been in their positions for maybe like 4 months, I think. So kind of all of them were new. I mean, Pelletier wasn't brand new, but he was kind of new. But he was also the first police chief that the department has ever had who wasn't native Hawaii, from Hawaii. I'm not saying that right. I'm in my second hour almost. I'm getting fried. Native Hawaiian from Hawaii. There, I can speak. Pelletier. Yeah, he's really sleazy. And then he did that whole trick where he like started going backwards in the numbers of fatalities. So it was like up to like as much as 117 or 119 at the most. And then he started pulling the numbers down to bring it under 100. And then somebody had to bump it back up to 100. And it's probably still there at 100, I bet you, if we look. I know everything comes miniature. I ordered a pile of matte things that slot together, and there's only two corners. Yeah, I want to get a little wooden bridge for the front yard. And I know that if I order one online, it'll probably come and be the right size for my set. So I'm not going to order one online. I'm going to try to buy a kit somewhere and make one. Let's see. Couldn't tell you stories. My kids are always sending me Temu invites. Freda used to watch Van Life too. Temu got brilliant marketing skills. Are his daughters stepdaughters? Whose daughters are these? Anna Bean. Curious. P. Diddy has a lot of kids, and isn't his youngest kid just like 2 years old? 11 horses in the 11th race should be a good one to watch. Be right back. Jazz, LOL. Okay, let's see. Get caught up. I like Wish. I got some good things on Wish. I don't know about Wish. I'll check it out. Bet you crazy. Didn't realize you wrote that. We'll have to look on Wish because I love earrings. I know I'm really an earring junkie. I would like necklaces and bracelets and rings too, but earrings are definitely my thing. CN, I got a under the sink osmosis for around $30. It still works 2 years later. Those are really good to have. Under the sink osmosis, for anybody who's unfamiliar, that's some really good drinking water. I love that. My mom had that. We just use a Brita filter. I heard in Shan's live last night that SF is involved in the Sebastian case. Right, I've heard that too. Ugh. Yeah. Anna, yes, me too. And that's crazy because he was also on the Chelsea Grim case and she had searched for Kylie. He wasn't on Gabby Petito's case, was he? There were some people that overlapped with Gabby Petito's case and Kylie Rodney's case, some suspicious people. I can't remember if he was one of them. Who remembers? Who knows what I'm talking about? Oh, nice. I'm going to check Wish out after live. Got a busy night, blocking vids, going on Wish, seeing red flags. That's my kind of Saturday night. Yeah. He is very sus. Vegas shooting where the dude walked into the hotel room with military arsenal and no one noticed. Exactly. Drift away. Exactly. Yeah, that's sus AF. Barry morphed. SF is very suspicious. Morph you, yeah. That's great. I never thought about that, Anna Bean. Barry morphed. That is really good. He's one who claimed Riley Strain's case is a drowning too. Oh my goodness. Yikes. He's such a nut job. He needs to pull his head out of his behind. Kylie Rodney was why I joined YouTube. Seeing red flags. That's why I started my channel. I did it for her. I had wanted to do it with Suzanne Morphew. I'd wanted to do it with Gabby Petito. And then I really wanted to do it with Kylie Rodney. And then I finally did it. And it was really all the effery after her remains were found. Because I started my channel exactly a week after her remains were found. And I thought that once her remains were found, there'd be no point to it. And so I thought I missed my opportunity. And then things got worse. And I was just like, that's it. I'm doing it. I'm freaking doing it. Who still listens to anything he has to say about anything? SF. Yes. Shan, that's crazy. What? For him to pull his thing out? Oh, the thing about Riley Strain. I gotcha, Anna. Okay. SF. Yes. Let's see. Yeah. First case I followed was Gabby P, then Kylie. Hi, Dawn. Nice to see you. Let me check my notes again real quick before we wrap up. Um, oh, I got one for you. Can we jump over to Meredith Kercher's case for a moment? Do you guys mind? I forgot about this, and something reminded me the other day. Her acting so suspicious and her just blabbing nonstop to anybody who will listen about her freaking Innocence Project and being exonerated. When her roommate had, when the roommate's memorial was happening, she failed to show up and her boyfriend failed to show up. And remember what they were doing? Does anybody here remember what Amanda Knox and Rafaela Scalito were doing? Where they went during the memorial service? They were shopping. I'm going to read your comments and see if anybody has it, and then I'll spit it out because it's crazy. I mean, she's just guiltier than sin. She is absolutely guiltier than sin. And I'm going to keep talking about it because of her case being back in the spotlight and her talking about it. She won't stop talking about it. Girl, like, and that's good. That's good because she needs to get hers. I remember I've been watching you since 2002. Oh, seeing red flags, you're so sweet. That is awesome. Shan, wow, I didn't know that. The thing about the Riley Strain case. Thanks for the follow-up on Idaho 4. I believe there are grifters in the YouTube streets who don't even believe what they say but get views and comments for being conflicting. 100%. Absolutely. There's a lot of weirdos on YouTube, and some of them are just genuine bona fide weirdos. But then some of them, True Crime King, are like probably plants. Kylie is the reason I started making videos too. Truth Tsunami, that's awesome. So where Amanda and her boyfriend were during Meredith's memorial service was they were in a lingerie store. Not being guilty in a freaking lingerie store. Right. Now one of her spiels is like, I've never really been given a chance to grieve from losing my friend. It's like nobody gives you a chance to grieve about anything. You just grieve, you freak. It's been how many years? 2007 until now, so 15 years. Let's see. I can't do math. My brain is frying. 17 years. It's been 17 years, right? Yeah. Go ahead, grieve, friend. Like, so they went to the music event together that Amanda met Scalito at, and then her and Scalito held up, just kept kind of like a one night stand that lasted a week, is what it sounds like. But Meredith and the guy downstairs that started dating, Meredith and Amanda only knew each other for 6 weeks tops. And then that last week, Amanda wasn't around very much because she was with her new boyfriend trying to prove to Meredith and the guy downstairs that she didn't need them anyway. And then, yeah. The night before the Red Room, Amanda and Meredith both wore costumes and they both went to parties, but they did not hang out together or go to the same party. So they were roommates. They both had the same employer. I mean, I think Meredith, I'm not sure if she had worked a shift yet, but Patrick was hiring her. And they didn't go to the same party. So I think that speaks volumes. But something I didn't know about that town, and I can never say the name of it right, Paraguay, that Italian town, is that I knew it was a university town, but what I didn't know is that it's a lot of rich kids that go there, which makes sense because, yeah, you have to have money to go to school. So again, Amanda was in this situation where she wasn't a rich kid. I mean, her parents were very blue collar, and she's the oldest of four sisters, I think. So, man, what she's put her family through and what she continues to put them through, and like they've got to know, they've got to have some sense about them. And that guy that she's married to, ugh, so creepy. And now she thinks she's a journalist and, public speaker. And, she just won't shut up talking about her lost quote unquote friend. Like, would you just allow Meredith's family to get some peace? Would you allow Meredith to get some peace? It just makes me so sick. So, yeah, I'm going to keep talking about her because I think attention needs to be brought to the fact. And I think that it's really true. The more she talks, the more people realize that she is actually guilty. Kudos to you all who can keep a level head and be out loud and proud with your content. I would not make it through one live if I even got that far. Drift away, straight up cynical. I didn't think I could do it. I never thought I could do it. When Paula from Plunder first recommended that I start my own channel, I was just like, she was fully supportive. She was just like, you'd be great. And I'm just like, yeah, right. I don't even know how to work my cell phone. Isn't it amazing how God drew us all together for Kylie? We can discern nothing made sense. I really didn't even use a laptop. I mean, I knew how to use one, but I always kind of needed help before I started my channel. And I certainly didn't want to do a channel on a cell phone. So I started learning how to use the laptop right away. You're so right, Drift. But yeah, it is a booger. And the first thing you got to be ready for is all the trolls and all of the pushback, because I think they like to hit the new ones the hardest, try to sort of like the initiation, the rites of initiation, kind of like a rush week for fraternities or something. I always get in trouble for buying earrings. I get told I have too many, but can you really have too many earrings? No, you cannot. You absolutely cannot. I know. I have some that I never wear that I'll never get rid of because they're just like little pieces of art. And I love the hearts of the people who truly fight for Kylie. The world to fight against the lie Truckee has told about Kylie. Yeah. Like, why would you lie about a kid that was victimized? Why would you try to pretend that they're not victimized? I mean, again, I always like to answer my own questions because the answer is in the question. It's all about the bottom line. It's all about tourism. So they want to pretend that it's a safe place, that they're not a town that's full of a bunch of freaks that like to have Silence of the Lambs, Blair Witch Project, Screaming Monkeys. What's the other one? The Lord of the Flies. I always forget that one. The Lord of the Flies parties. Like, who has these parties? So let's talk about Kylie and then wrap up, because I 100% believe that MC Ultra's child and maybe both children were at this party, and that's why she's inserted herself and won't stop and won't shut up and won't go away. Again, she's just done it to herself by doing the things she does, and for that we can thank her. BCN, batshit crazy. Now I know that was what that stands for. One can never have too many earrings. I love native beaded earrings. I'm addicted. Oh yes, absolutely. Me too. Justice is coming. Yes, you can't swear. I wouldn't be able to talk. There was one video of Kylie, like before I ever branched out, made a video that wasn't of Kylie, where all I did was swear. I dropped the F-bomb like, I don't know, 20 or 50 times. I can go look. But one of my viewers was just like, I'm never watching you again. I can't believe you're swearing. I was like, I know you're not supposed to on this platform, but it's time to start dropping the F-bomb nonstop because this case is so ridiculous. You can't swear. I wouldn't be able to talk. I know. It's funny. Isn't it funny? Oh, those sound cool. Where do you find them? Beaded earrings. Well, I make beaded earrings, or I used to make beaded earrings. I still do sometimes, but I will be giving some away, batshit crazy. That was the first stuff I gave away on the YouTube channel. So when we wrap up, remember that the first person to comment will get the Bobo tea earrings, and the second person to comment will get the little goofy popsicles with faces on them. Let's see. Because you guys need more earrings, right? Sagali, I had a pair that were made with porcupine needles by Navajo, but someone stole them. Oh, I'm a cell phone channel. LOL. I haven't really used my laptop yet. Wow, that's amazing. Because it's a lot harder to do it from your cell phone, I think. Man, that's wild that you can do it from your cell phone. Order from a lady on Facebook. I just can't afford it right now, but there's lots of very talented beaders if you type in native beaded earrings. Oh, I bet. Trolls, bring it. I ain't scared of no trolls, but those other rules and regulations, I match energies. Anna, I would love porcupine earrings. Anna, I love porcupine earrings. Yeah, porcupine quills are cool. Very cool. You guys want to know something cute? My oldest child, she forgot what a porcupine was called when she was like 5. She was like, "What are those things again? Spiny pigs?" So we always call them spiny pigs. She was always doing that. Like she wanted eggs, scribbled eggs, because she couldn't remember scrambled. She's like, "I want scribbled eggs." That's another favorite. The best was when she asked for a boy cheese sandwich. I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, I want you to make me a boy cheese sandwich." And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And she was like, "Well, you make girl cheese sandwiches all the time, and I love them. I want a boy cheese sandwich." Okay. That was so hilarious. The girl cheese sandwich. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Kids are great, aren't they? Let's see. Let's wrap her up. And then again, to remind you, when we wrap up, the first 2 commenters will win the earrings. Put a link on your channel for the earrings. I know Etsy has some really cool earrings. Just have to find good prices. Well, you can find really cool stuff on Etsy, but you can also be scammed on Etsy. So be careful. I know people that have gotten garbage for $200, like a wedding ring that was like something that was a couple of dollars from Walmart. So yeah, be careful. I know Etsy has some super cool stuff. I want genuine handmade Native American earrings. I've bought like 5 pairs from her. She makes them really tight. They last long. Shipwrecked Beads, you guys. That's a store in Olympia, Washington that sells beads. And I want to say it's owned by Native Americans, but I might not be accurate with that. Anyway, it's been around for a long, long time. Shipwrecked Beads, and they usually sell some Native American jewelry, handmade stuff. So I know that they're online. I used to shop there when I lived in Olympia. Shipwrecked Beads. So hopefully they'll give me some kickback for advertising. I want some scribbled eggs. My daughter called meatloaf, meat love. Oh, that's adorable. Yes. And I've told you guys, but it's been a long time. My son called spaghetti paschetti, and then, which I think a lot of people do. And then lasagna was lasagna. Paschetti and lasagna. Those were his favorites. What about gender neutral cheese sandwiches? Cosmic cake. That's the greatest right there. That's too cute. I love kids. Dip eggs are the best. Would that be like soft boiled? I love soft boiled eggs with just regular white toast and butter. That is the bomb. You're making me hungry. They're so entertaining. Oh my goodness. I really want a pair in the 80s. I lived in Colorado, or were beaded earrings made by the Cheyenne, spelling wrong. All right, you guys, I'm going to say peace out. Have a lovely afternoon, rest of your day. I guess it's evening. It's 7:20. Wow. CN, that's really sweet. I love the whole native decor. So take really good care of yourself. Make sure that you eat well, stay hydrated, get your rest, try to get some exercise, be kind, be true, be kind, be brave. I think Lisa is Lakota. Okay, so the first commenter gets Bobo Tea earrings. The second commenter gets the silly little popsicles. This is the perfect thing to show earrings on, isn't it? So, all right. Love to you all. Thank you so much. You guys are the bomb. I really appreciate you. Oh, don't forget to hit that like button. Have a great evening, and thanks for entertaining me while I waited. Aw, thanks, you guys. It's always lovely to see you. You guys are my therapy. Thanks again, and good luck winning earrings. Yay.